Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of American Horror Story Double Feature Episode 8. Because for whatever reason, this show is not weird enough, we now have this.
Yeah, it's amping up and it's kind of disappointing that we only have like a couple of episodes left that this is just such a short story. I truly wish that both Red Tide and Death Valley both just had full seasons. It feels like for me, I could have had a lot more Red Tide. There was more story to be told there. And this story in Death Valley, they are just running along at like a crazy pace here.
I would have been like, this would have been my compromise. If you guys could have at least given us, I don't know, maybe a 13 or 14 episode season, and then each one of them would have a little bit more, like, I would have at least been okay with that because it feels like, I don't know if this was FX or Ryan Murphy or whoever else being like, okay, so we know that you guys typically once you get to like episode 7 or 8 of your like big long extended arcs, they all go off the rails and start getting bad. But you went the other way. Like, you put it so that there's too little a story, you don't have time to tell it all.
Yeah, it almost felt like they put together American Horror Stories, which
Yeah.
we saw this summer, which were like one off episodes for the most part, except for the Return to Murder House. And now we've got these shortened seasons where we have two full length sort of stories, but really they're very short arcs.
Yeah. And there's so much to get to here, especially because we have the past story with Ike, we've got the present story with Kendall and her friends, and really it feels like both of these could be sort of a separate story in their own right. So it's almost like we got 3 seasons of this show going on in one.
Yeah, Death Valley has two main stories going on, and yes, they are connected, but it does feel like we're watching, for me, two different shows, two different alien stories.
Well, we're going to get into, of course, all of these alien stories, but for now, beam yourself over to that subscribe button so you don't miss any other coverage we have coming up. I know this season is coming to a close soon, but we've got a lot happening at the channel this year. We've got Dexter, Yellowstone coming up, Power Book 2 Ghost. It is going to be very, very eventful.
And Succession, that's coming up soon. We're also going to be covering You, Netflix's
Yeah.
You. That's coming up on the 15th. So hit that subscribe button and stick around. And also follow us over on Instagram at Matt and Jess TV. Another thing that's coming up is Matt's birthday.
Oh boy.
So this weekend we're going to be having a celebration. I'm making him a pirate cake. It's all pirate themed. I
Arr.
am aware that he is turning 35, but you know, this is where we are with that. So follow us on Instagram and you'll get to see my attempt at a pirate cake.
Ahoy there, look at that. Look, listen, if we want a pirate cake, we can have a pirate cake.
Oh, you're getting a pie. Well, you're getting something that is going to sort of resemble a pirate cake. We'll see what it turns out like. I am not a professional or a baker in any way.
It will be delicious.
That it will be.
So, okay, this episode, I want to call this episode delicious, but here is somewhat of my problem. I still love all of the stuff with Ike. I
So good.
I love the first half of it. I will say I think the second half was better this time than the second half of the premiere, but still not enough time spent on it. And it's just also just weird, and I don't care as much about those quote unquote heroes.
Yeah, you hit right on it. It's that there has not been enough time spent with Kendall and the group of friends for me to care that anything is happening to them. When Troy started, you know, they've all been taken to this alien facility now so that they'll be able to give birth to the aliens. And, you know, it's a one and done, as we've been told here by Calico, who's shown up sort of out of a nowhere, that some people get to stay there and other people one and done, and seemingly they're gonna just give birth and die, which, you know, I guess kind of makes sense with the way that these aliens are incubating, because I'm assuming that they're incubating in your stomach. I mean, they're not being very clear about it, but if the only way that they're all going to give birth is through the stomach, which we saw in the past with
Yeah.
Amelia Earhart, that was sort of what happened there as well, then they're gonna die. But the problem is that I spent very little time with them in the first episode. I barely got to know them. So I am not invested in them. By the
No.
time we got to the present storyline going on in this episode, there was only like 13 minutes left of the episode. Like this was really heavily in the past, which is the part that we
Yeah.
truly enjoy. Then by the time Troy was on the table and was freaking out about everything, I was kind of like, I'm not invested enough in you to care if you end up dying for this alien race to go forward. I'm more invested in the alien race. And I don't know if it's been put together like that by design by Ryan Murphy for us to care about the aliens more than we care about these four people.
Yeah, I wonder because by far the most memorable moment to me of that entire second half is sort of getting our first glimpse at like the half alien,
Yeah.
half human hybrid race, which really good like prosthetics and makeup, by the way, on that.
Oh, really good. I'm way more invested in the aliens and them, being able to continue on. We learned from the past, which was another reason why I like the past part a lot more is I'm getting more information. I'm getting more context of why are the aliens here? So the aliens are here because they are unable to continue on living on their home planet. They have found that they can come to Earth, that they're going to be able to live here as long as they're able to figure out some sort of way to survive past the toxins on Earth and the viruses. They just haven't been able to figure that part out yet.
So with that in mind, they've determined let's all be hybrid aliens moving forward. We can get some of that natural, earthling immunity and have that sort of figured out. It's a plan. It's a plan that at least makes some sense because we're already completely off left field with a lot of this season. Like if the aliens were like after some like really weird, I don't know, rock that would give them vitality or something like that, it would be a total eye roll. So at least like this, I understand. I can connect to it enough to sort of deal with everything happening around it.
Yeah, and it seemed like Ike, as the president at that time, did connect to that somewhat, that he understood what it would be like if he was in that position and that it was humans or Americans that were going through that. The alien said, what if it was you? Wouldn't you do whatever you could to save the human race? And the answer is, yeah, we would. So he was offered this deal that they would get technology that turned into a microwave, which is kind of funny because there has been conspiracies about microwaves for years about it being alien technology, but so that was good. I like that.
Yeah.
But that they would trade this technology with the US so that then the US would turn away from about 5,000 people each year that they were going to be, the aliens would be allowed to take and experiment on and try to find a way to be able to continue to live and actually find a way to be part of the environment.
I love that Ike was willing to sacrifice thousands of human beings so that we could all someday enjoy a Hot Pocket. Like, that is really where this entire story lands with me. The thing that was, okay, I'm a little on the fence about with the past stories. It's just that it's all so self-indulgent. It's like, Ryan, okay, you put Amelia Earhart in the first one. Of course, you gotta have Marilyn Monroe and JFK. Is there a person on TV more obsessed with like altering historical characters than Ryan Murphy?
Yeah, for sure.
It's just like, okay, did we need all of that? I don't know, but I at least I like the way the past story is shot. I like the way that there's just like this aura of creepiness, like just around everything there.
And then we had the reveal that Ike's wife has revealed about the aliens to Nixon, who at that time was the VP. And when he comes home to confront her about it, sort of be like, why would you do that? Like, I'm telling you in confidence, you're my wife. You're supposed to keep this between us. It is revealed that she has been possessed by one of the aliens. And that seems to be the real sticking point that makes Ike decide to move forward with this deal, because while he understood it when it was presented to him, he was kind of like, oh man, I am really going to be sacrificing a lot of people. And yeah, it's 5,000 for millions. It's still a sacrifice
Yeah.
that is for him to make for other people's lives. But once the sacrifice is, hey, I'm in your life now. Oh, you want her to live? Let's make a deal. That's where it all started to come together.
Nothing like a good old fashioned threat to really get Ike on board here with everything. I will never get past how like just jarring it is watching someone's head explode in that
I
particular
know.
like they did a really good job of making that so gory. Like I we had the whole sort of meeting sequence that went on, and then there's the invader in there. Then once all that is over, that head explodes in front of everyone. It's like, okay.
No, it's the stuff in the past is really good. All the actors that they have playing all these really sort of iconic personalities from the past, great casting. I really enjoy the stuff from the past. And again, I truly wish that this was a whole season, all the episodes of the
Yeah.
past. For me, this would have, if they continued along this path, which, Ryan Murphy doesn't always keep it at this level, but if he did, this season would have easily been one of my favorites.
The thing I have a hardest time like wrapping my head around is we're seeing this stuff in the present, but we already know what happened in the past, so there doesn't feel like there's that much sort of mystery to it, unless like something has happened over, I don't know, the past couple of decades that we haven't seen yet. But it just feels like, okay, well, the aliens clearly need more people in order to survive. This is still clearly going on, and that's all that's happening. Like I don't know what other reveal there is.
Yeah, and with there only being just like a couple of episodes left, it's kind of like, how does this actually get wrapped up in any way? Is this just a revealing season of, by the way, the government made this deal. This is what's been happening for all these decades. It is still happening in the present, and it will still happen in the future. Because if they do find a way to have like these young people and Kendall like stop this that's been going on for decades and decades and decades in like 2 episodes, it's just not going to be satisfying. There is not enough time that Kendall is going to be the one to be able to figure it all out, but all these other presidents just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I do not believe this in the slightest. These four people, I'm not saying they're total idiots, but they're not. We're not looking here at paranormal experts who have spent years in the field. Like, these people had no idea what was going on until like last week when they were abducted and then they all got pregnant. It's going to be so unbelievable that they are going to stop the invasion forever.
I did find it interesting, though, to see Ike and Nixon go and talk to Kennedy and
Yeah.
reveal this and be like, "This is what is happening. We're letting you know about it." And Kennedy decides, you know what? I'm probably going to tell everybody. And then all of a sudden, they've like linked it to what happened to him and getting shot. I was like, okay,
This, there's the amount of just
what a conspiracy!
Ryan's self-indulgence with Kennedy is like so next level. It's like, okay, it's not all about you, Ryan. You have to claim that, you're responsible now for what happened to JFK. And then in the future, was he trying to claim that, like, I don't know, Steve Jobs got alien technology or something, and that led to all the innovations at Apple?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, see, Steve Jobs there was pretty funny too. I didn't get that was actually who that was supposed to be until they said so. It didn't really look like him. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe dressed a little bit, glasses, sure, but that could be anybody. So for me, no offense to that actor, but it was a little bit of a miscast. I didn't see Steve in him.
They could have just hired me. I'm bald.
Okay,
You
you
just
also
put a
don't look like
turtleneck on me. I've got the glasses,
Yeah,
a little beard.
listen, you cannot just put a turtleneck on somebody and all of a sudden you're Steve Jobs. Like, you got to have a bit more of a resemblance.
Steve. Okay, right. I don't need to see any other person that you were like plucking out of history and putting on this show. Right? I'm good. You've made your joke.
Oh, well, it's probably not going to end, so buckle up. Put on your hard hats.
Uh-huh.
No, listen, overall, this was a much better episode than the premiere. The premiere had some really good stuff in it that I like. I like all the stuff that's in the past. I did not like the stuff that was in the present in the premiere, but they made it work better in this episode because there was less of it.
Yeah.
And there was aliens involved in it that were actually sort of in the alien facility where they're dealing with all these pregnancies. It is becoming more interesting now because now it's not about them, it's about the aliens.
Hashtag Team Aliens. Well, anyway, let us know.
I'm Team Alien.
Are you guys Team Alien? Where do you think all this is going? Let us know. And of course, hit that like button, subscribe for more updates, and we'll see you here next time.